Okay, everyone, welcome to our nurturing flow yoga this evening. I'll do a little intro again. I know most of you, I know you, some of you are new. Some of you maybe have never been to my classes before, but just a really quick introduction to me. My name is Katie. Kit Kat Yoga is my business. So nurturing flow for me is really just a nice way to describe what I believe yoga is, how I use it, and how I teach it. And I really believe that my role as a teacher is really just there to hold space and to guide you today. So I am here to guide you through yoga, but to really encourage you to tune into your body, to trust yourself, and to move how you feel you need to move. So there's no expectation, there's no need to do anything particular. If you're working with anything in your body, or hey, maybe you're just feeling a little bit like, ugh, today. If at any point you feel you want to do something a little bit different to what I'm saying, or maybe you just want to lie there for a bit, it's all yoga. This is just space that we've carved out for you. So taking that space is really important. So I'm going to stay sitting here actually. I want to just do a little brief kind of tune into the collective energies, and kind of what I suppose I feel guided to be tuning into today, and what's going to guide our practice really. So I am very inspired by astrology and the idea that it isn't just about the things going on in our individual lives, that we are influenced by the collective energy, the stuff going around in the world, whether we're aware of it intellectually or not, especially if we're quite sensitive. And also astrology for me, I find quite a nice reassurance and guidance. I don't believe in the whole idea that, oh no, it's a full moon, I'm going to go crazy, or anything where you give your power away and like we're a victim to, oh no, Mercury's in retrograde, my whole world's going to break. I really believe it's more so knowing what's happening in astrology can make you feel a little bit more like, oh, okay, right, I can see why I feel a little bit more like this at the moment. I feel like it's more of an empowering than giving your power away. And so with us being in Pisces season is it's a very feeling state. Pisces is like watery, and when I really tune into watery energy, to me it's very representative of our feminine energy. So regardless of our gender, what we identify ourselves as, it doesn't matter. The masculine and feminine energy is within all of us. And that feminine energy for me is really that intuitive wisdom, that slightly deeper feeling kind of state. And it feels quite apt that Pisces is the last sign in the astrological new year before you move into Aries. Aries is that like step forwards, get up and go. Well, if you don't have that reflection period before you get up and go, you're going to be all over the shop. So it really feels to me like this real kind of going inwards and really tuning into what feels true for us right now. And especially the week that we're in, it's very interesting that there is a lot of feminine energy around and a lot of stuff coming up around the feminine. So it felt very amplified this week. So we're going to do a little bit of a watery, flowy kind of inspired class today. We'll end with a little bit longer guided relaxation to really, really sink in. Yeah. So we're going to start seated, and I do this every time. I've been teaching on Zoom for a year, and every time I forget to put my watch on. I don't know at which point I'm going to remember this. So please get yourself comfortable into a comfortable seated position whilst I get my watch. Act like I'm going into another room. Everything happens in one room here. Teach, sleep, eat. No, I don't eat in here, just chocolate in my bed. Okay. So if you just take a little moment to settle yourself in, if cross-legged works for you, you can sit cross-legged. but any other way that feels nice for you. Now, if you do, I know we've just sat down, but if you do have yoga blocks nearby, I've set mine up either side of my mat, which we can do later, but if you do have blocks, we might use them today. Anything else you might need, I'm sat up on a blanket as well, just to find that comfortable space in your spine. And so if it feels good, you can close your eyes and just allow yourself to sink in. So a little bit of talking at the beginning kind of can be a nice way to shift your mindset out of where it's been into where you are now. But now the invitation is to allow yourself to start to drop out of your mind and to really sink into your body. So allowing yourself to relax your hands, maybe on your legs or on your lap. And just taking a few breaths. And if those breaths feel like they want to be sighs, you can make them as audible as you feel comfortable in the space that you're in. And as you're taking these breaths, just allow your belly to soften and let there be this sense of sinking. And so I often refer to this as dropping in. This idea that we're starting to drop out of the head, out of the doing, the busyness, and sink into our bodies, into our hearts. And in this process, it's important to remember that you're not trying to quiet your mind necessarily. You can have just as much going on, but it's not the focus of your attention. Instead, you can allow your thoughts to almost drift out a little bit further back. And it's more just that case of shifting your attention. So as you allow yourself to sink in, to drop in, almost imagine that as you are taking every exhale, there's that sense of water gently washing over you, and this, imagine it like magical water, magical relaxation water, like a wave of softness that pours from the crown of your head all the way down across your face, softening those places which we all have our own places where we hold tension. There's a lot of commonalities between us, I'm sure, but you'll have your own specific places. Maybe it's your eyes, your jaw. And just allow this wave of softness to start to wash over you. Softening your shoulders. And really feeling this sense of sinking into your seat bones, into the ground beneath you. And as you feel this connection between your seat bones and the ground, I'd like you to envisage this sense of roots, your sense of connection. And you might see them like tree roots, you might see them like an energetic light, whatever feels right for you. But it is that sense of anchoring you to this physical earth plane. So if you resonate with the chakra system and you're familiar with your earth chakra, the chakra that sits about a foot beneath your body into the earth, that anchors you onto and into Pachamama, our earth. Really feel that sense of anchoring in. Maybe even feeling that sense of connection come all the way down to the center of the earth. Finding your grounding. And as you feel that connection anchoring into the center of the earth, take a nice big breath in and allow it to travel, that energy, that awareness, all the way back up from the center of the earth, all the way through the base of your spine. And let that energy travel up, all the way up to the crown of your head. Maybe allowing yourself to sit up just a little bit taller. And then allowing that energy, that awareness to expand up and out now. Maybe towards your soul chakra, again, like the earth chakra, about a foot above your head. Maybe even allowing your awareness to go higher, all the way up and out into the universe, all the way back to source. Whatever words or feelings resonate for you. That sense of expansion beyond the physicality that we exist within. Leaning into that concept of infinite possibilities, expansion. And then as you take your next breath in, draw that energy all the way back down through the crown of your head and feel it into the center of your heart now. Feel those two energies intertwining. That sense of being rooted and expanded. So as much as the roots go down, you're able to expand. And just take a few breaths here in your heart space. Just tuning into what's present for you today, what's in your heart, what's in your body. And noticing if there is any guidance coming through for you, an intention for your practice. Maybe something, but also maybe nothing. It's fine too. Good. Take another nice big breath in if you want to make an audible sigh. Just sinking in. Good. And then from here, let's take a nice breath in. We're going to take the arms up and out to the side now. So breathing in, reaching the arms up. And as you exhale, take the palms of the hands down through center. So we'll just start easy, gentle flow as we go. Inhale, breathe the arms up and out. Exhale, hands come down. Good. Move with your own pace of breath. I always say that my only requirement is that you breathe. How fast, slow, aligned with me you breathe, doesn't matter. Just allowing yourself to find space in your belly as you do breathe. Good. And the next time you inhale, reach it up. You're going to take a little exhale, take your right hand down towards the ground. Your left hand's going to come up and over, a little bit like a wave. And then we're going to inhale, come through center. Exhale to the other side. So as you start to do these little flowy movements, just notice where you feel any sense of rigidity in your body. So the common one is your shoulders creep up a little bit. Maybe your belly gets a little tense. Maybe even your hips because you're trying to stabilize yourself. I really want you to feel today like you are kind of flowing through water, that real grace that happens when you are kind of flowing through water. If you've ever scuba dived, which I have not, or actually go full mermaid-esque. Let's go truly magical today. If you could breathe underwater, how graceful and enjoyable it would be. I think scuba diving and snorkeling adds a whole layer of concentration. Yeah. Next time you inhale, bring yourself to center. Again, the arms are going to reach up. Just soften the elbows, soften the shoulders. Find that sense of your belly just gently coming in towards your back, just stopping that splaying of the ribs forwards. Good. From here, right hand's going to come behind, left hand's going to come across. It's like a little twist, but we're going to flow with it. So as you exhale, you'll come into a gentle twist. And then as you inhale, you're just going to swoosh the arms over. They can stay low this time. And then exhale, other side. So it's gentle to start because we're going to move. So inhale, center. Exhale, gentle twist. Inhale, center, exhale to the other side. So you might find, because we're kind of flowing, that it almost stops you from pulling on the legs or on the ground, which is quite nice. Wouldn't it be nice if we just allowed our body to move without pulling it into different directions? Good. Next time that you come to your second side, whichever one that was, come back to center, just resting your hands on your legs now. Soften your shoulders, just lengthen your spine again. Feel that seat bone connection. And then breathing in, we're going to open the chest. So find a little bit of space to open up now. Think about lifting the chest rather than arching the spine. Then as you exhale, a little rounding. And again, find a little bit of a flow here. So inhale to open and then exhale to round. And again, you can let your hands kind of do what feels nice. You can do the strokey legs. It can be quite nice. Or you can just keep your hands where they are. Good. Take just a couple more breaths like this. Allowing these movements to be as big or as small as you like. And then we're going to start to take this movement into a circle. So wherever you want to move from, just start to allow yourself to spiral now. So you can allow that inhale to be a forwards motion. The exhale is just a little rotation back. And I invite you, as much as you feel comfortable today, to close your eyes and to allow for your body to just kind of move intuitively. There is a natural tendency to want to look, obviously, at the screen, because that's where the noise is coming from. But allowing there maybe to be that initial explanation of what's happening, and then tuning into your body, taking what I give you and then making it your own. Take your circle in the other direction when you're ready. Good, and just finding that flow. More movement. Moving into the places that need a bit of space. Beautiful. And then just gradually spiraling that circle. Smaller and smaller. Coming back to stillness. Good, nice. Okay, from here we're going to move towards tabletop. So mindful transitions is a tendency to, I like to notice the jump from yoga, not yoga, back to yoga. So can you make your transitions like you're flowing? So you can roll over your knees if your knees are comfy that way, or just swooshing your legs to one side. Now, if you do have sensitive knees, or you just want to give your knees a little bit of love today, some of you know this, I'm a big fan of blankets, just in life in general. But come into a tabletop and just letting yourself have a little wiggle around to settle yourself in. So to enable us to really flow, there does need to be some sense of stability around us. This is why there's a strong correlation between earth and water. Water likes to have a little bit of a boundary around it. It's just the dance between the masculine and feminine energies as well. So find yourself that really stable setup. So your fingers are pressing down, wrists beneath the shoulders, hips and knees in a nice line. And let your gaze be between the hands so you can really lengthen out the back of your neck, especially if you've been looking at a screen, depending on what you're like with your posture. Most of us will jut our chins forwards. So just notice if that happens, and can you line your neck up with your spine so it becomes this beautiful extension. And then from here, we're going to start to move in to a little bit of a rolling cat-cow motion. So as you inhale, you can allow your front of your body to extend. You can maybe even look forwards. And then as you exhale, like a little roll of your spine, you can start to push your bottom back. So it's like a little swoosh backwards, and then inhale, drop the elbows like you're scooping through. I like to think of this idea that you're literally a cat licking out of a bowl. The licking bit is totally optional. But you're finding a little bit more of a swooshy cat-cow. Allowing yourself to take just one more of these. And then let yourself start to move how you want to. So you might want to move your hips from side to side. You might want to just come into a cat-cow motion. But really allowing yourself, again, if it's comfortable, to close your eyes and just let the framework be tabletop and your movement be guided by that intuitive part of you, that part of your body that knows how to move your body without having to think about it. So staying where you are in that space and just allowing yourself to move, to flow, to find those places, those little bits of places that obviously, I love yoga and I love yoga poses, but there's certain places in our body that need a little bit more freedom to tap into those little places that you find that you're like, oof, oh yeah, that bit, the sweet spots. So that's what we're looking for in these flowy movements, is finding those sweet spots. And maybe you want to pause for a few breaths and stay there. So just allowing yourself to do that. Nice. Good. And then from here, we're going to untuck the toes and just find our way back into a child's pose. Maybe taking the knees a little bit wider if that feels good for you today. And just allowing yourself to come back. If your forehead doesn't comfortably come to the ground, you could take a block if you have one, a book, cushions, or you can use your fists as little fist pillows. But allow your forehead, your head, to be supported enough that you can release around your lower back. So really letting yourself sink in. And if that means that you need a little bit more support, then take that support. Sometimes the legs closer together gives you a little bit more support. Nice. Just taking a few breaths here. Good. And then from here, as you take your next inhale, allow yourself to come back up to tabletop, but with the knees a little bit wider. So if you went for that kind of wider child's pose, keep the width. You can tuck your toes on. I'm going to face you just because it's a little bit easier. So your knees might be a little bit wider than your hips. Your wrists are underneath your shoulders again. We're going to take a little bit of a flow here, and then you might find that you need to bring your knees in. Just see what feels nice for you. Like sometimes your hips get a bit achy, or my hips get a little bit achy. From here, we're going to take our right hand, we're going to sweep it up and out to the side. So as it comes out to the side, keep a little micro bend in that supporting arm. Let it come as high as feels comfortable. It might just come a little bit out to the side. Maybe it comes a little higher. Your choice. That's your inhale. As you exhale, you're going to swoosh the arm under. Keep this supporting arm straight. It's just going for a little reach through. And then you're going to inhale, sweep it back up. And then the exhale is going under. So just start to find that movement, that range of movement that feels comfortable in your body. And just because my range looks a certain way doesn't mean yours should. So finding what feels nice. And it's okay if your hips are swaying a little bit. I really think that there's this sense of trusting your body as it wants to move. As long as you're not getting any discomfort in the knees, the hip, or the lower back, let yourself have a little bit of freedom. And then the next time you exhale, we're going to fully thread the needle and allow ourselves to come down. So the right hand will scoop under. You can bend the elbow now. As it comes across, gently lowering down onto that right shoulder, right side of the face onto the ground. And you may want to keep your left hand on the ground with a little bit of support if you've got a little discomfort in the shoulder or it feels a bit intense. You can take the left hand forwards if that feels good. But you're aiming for the left armpit to be towards the ground. So it's a slightly different version, because you can also do the twisted version. I mean, if that works for you today, you can take that one. You're going to take a few breaths here. If you find that pressure on the shoulder doesn't work, you could always you could do this seated as well. You can take the arm across. So just staying where you are. Softening your shoulder. Notice if your shoulder's crept a little up to your ear. Just see if you can sink it down a little bit. Nice big breath into your belly, into the back of your body. Just notice if there's anywhere else where you could soften a little more. Good. And then on your next inhale, if that left hand is reached away, draw it back next to your face. Support yourself, start to gently unravel. We'll take a little reach up with that right arm, a little stretch before we come to the other side. So planting both hands down on the ground and just resetting. So you might find that you want to adjust your knees, your hips, finding that connection with the right hand. And if you find your wrists get a little uncomfy, just make sure that you've got all your fingers pushing down. You could do fists also on the ground. And then when you feel ready, left arm's coming up, or other arm, whichever one you used. Inhale, take a little sweep up. And then the exhale, scooping under. We're going to do that little flow to start. So your right arm is straight, tiny little bend. Inhale's coming up, and the exhale, swooping under. Again, let the movement be as big or as small as feels good for you. Nice. Good. And then the next time that you take that breath in, reaching up, the exhale is going to feed that arm underneath, keeping that shoulder low and away from your ears as you lower yourself down, just mindfully letting the side of the face connect to the ground. And maybe that right hand is supporting you here, or maybe it wants to reach forwards. Right armpit heading towards the ground. And just settling yourself here. Finding those steady breaths. And just encouraging that space of softness in your body. Good. And then as you take your next inhale, that hand's reached away, gently drawing it back in next to your face. And starting to unravel yourself, you can take the left arm. That's high pitched because I don't know if it's left or right. The arm that was underneath, reach it up. You guys know. And then bringing yourself back to tabletop, taking a little moment here, just resetting yourself so knees are underneath your hips. Taking a breath in, open the chest. And then as you exhale, round your spine. And we're going to take a few more of those. We're going to move up to downward dog shortly. So if you've got socks on, like me, now's a good time to take them off. And we're going to start to find a little bit of an exploration. So as you inhale, allow the chest to open. And then as you exhale, curl the toes under. You can either stay with a rounded spine, or you can start to lift the knees up, come into a little down dog, just for a breath. And then as you inhale, knees down, open the chest, take a little look forwards. Exhale comes back up into a down dog. Now, if the down dog is just not feeling so great today, you could stay with cat-cow, or you could maybe even do a child's pose instead of a downward dog. Just going to take a few more of these at your own pace. And if you find that one breath, one movement kind of doesn't work for you, then you can basically breathe as much as you need to. Good, last one, and we're going to meet in downward dog. So if downward dog isn't there for you today, it's just not feeling it, child's pose is a lovely alternative. If you're in downward facing dog, really feeling that sense of pushing down through all parts of your fingers, let your shoulders be away from your ears. And this sense of someone appearing in your house and gently holding you by the hips and sliding your hips up and back. Knees can be bent, heels off the ground. It's that straight spine, that length in your back that we're kind of exploring here. Relax your head and your neck. And if you want to take a little pedal out here, you can. So you can bend and straighten the legs. And then from here, we're going to start to find our way. We're going to take a little walk towards the front of the mat. I'm going to give you a little invitation. This is quite fun. As you walk forwards, you can push your toes on the ground and maybe put your heels like you're putting your heels in the opposite direction. So your feet are almost going parallel. It's like a little fancy way, like you cross over your feet as you walk towards the front. Fancy walking. You don't have to do that. Any way you wish to come towards the front of the mat. Feet around hip distance, bend your knees as much as you need to. Take a little forward fold here. Maybe giving your head and your neck a little shake. Hold the elbows if that feels good. Just allowing it to be maybe as much of a bend in the knees. I've got a real thing lately about bending my knees so much that I can rest my tummy and my chest on my legs. It's all about feeling supported. So if that feels nice for you, then do that. And then from here, I'm going to take a breath in. And we're going to roll up to standing. So super slow, bend the knees lots, relax your head and your neck, and let your hands dangle. So you're going to slowly, slowly unfurl. I've become very poetic lately when I teach. Unfurl your way up to standing, adjusting your clothing as you need to. And as you come to the top, a couple little shoulder rolls. You allow yourself to just find yourself in standing. Good. And then find yourself in a little bit of a stillness in standing. So you can have your hands next to you if that feels comfortable. And with your feet placement, some of you know I've been really playing around with where it feels nice to have my feet. Do I really want them really close together, or does it feel nicer to have them a little wider? So finding what feels comfortable for you and choosing. We have a lot of default behaviors, whether we do yoga lots or don't do yoga much, we still have the same kind of patterning that happens. We just by default put our body in positions. So tune in, what would feel nicest for you? And find that position. Allow your knees to be a little bit bent. And let your belly, it's not like you're sucking your belly in, but it's more of a sense of aligning your belly and your back together. So when I say draw your belly towards your back, I don't mean squeeze. It's more of an awareness of what can sometimes happens where the ribs stick out and your butt sticks out. It's like someone going, whoop. I haven't pulled my belly in. It's just a feeling of my ribs just drawing together. You don't have to do the sound effects. And just relax your hands next to you. And again, just finding that place where your neck lines up with your back. And close your eyes if you feel comfortable, just tuning into that sense of grounding again. So as we tuned in as we were seated, that sense of roots going down into the ground, feel that in your feet now, that sense of stability. And as much as you feel the energy rooting down, can you feel the energy moving through you and expanding out? So maybe you feel a little taller, maybe a little lighter. Take another breath here. Nice, good. And then from here, let's take a breath in. We're going to sweep the arms up, out to the side. Big breath in, reach up. Should have worn a longer top. As you exhale, bend your knees. Allow yourself to flow down into a bit of a forward fold. Nice, good. Relax your head and your neck at the bottom. Maybe take another breath in. Let your exhale relax even more. As you take your next breath in, draw your hands gently up the shins towards your knees. Little bend in your knees, nice long spine. Crown of the head reaches towards the front of the room. And then as you exhale, relax the hands down towards the ground. I'm going to take the right foot. No, we're not. We take the left foot. I'm going to take my left foot. And I'm going to reach it up, and I'm going to step it all the way back. So we end up in this kind of runner's lunge position. There's method in my madness, not always, but mostly. So with your front knee in line with your ankle, we're not going to be here for very long. Just lift your chest, and then as you exhale, bring your back knee down towards the ground. Yogi's choice, you can have a tucked toe or an untucked toe. As you inhale, we're going to sweep the arms up. So draw the legs towards each other. So you've got that sense of stability, and inhale, reach the arms up. If you need some support on your knee, take the blanket or fold over the mat. Take a nice big breath in and allow your arms to be wide. So you could almost go like YMCA arms, soft shoulders, elbows soft. If it feels good to have your arms straight up alongside you, that's fine, as long as you're not pulling your shoulders up. Find a little bit of space here and breathe into that space. So allowing there to be this sense of lifting in your chest rather than necessarily arching. Good, and then from here, as you exhale, release the hands down either side of your front foot. You can take a little sink back into a half split. So your bottom comes back, not much past your knee. Let the weight come onto your front heel, flex your toes, bend in the knees, fine. As if someone's got their hand high-fiving your foot and it's drawing the hip back in. Take a breath in so you can lengthen out your chest. You could use blocks here as well if you need the floor to come up towards you. I'm going to find a little flow from this now. So as you inhale, roll over the front foot. And you can sweep the arms up or keep the arms low, your choice. But really draw the legs together so you're not putting strain on your lower back. So this is your inhale, hands could be down. Exhale, hands come down, sink the bottom back. And just start to find your way with this. Maybe the movement feels small. Maybe the inhale keeps the hands down rather than lifting them. And the exhale moves the butt back just a little bit. It's a mouthful. So start to find that flow, that movement, but really have that awareness of what it's like to draw the legs together. So what can sometimes happen is we get a little bit loose in the hips, and that's when you can feel that kind of strain in the lower back. Good. Next time that you find your way sinking back, so you're in half splits, we're going to stay there for a moment. So butt comes back. Draw your shoulders away from your ears and let that knee be as bent as you like. And then if it feels nice for you, you can do a little wiggle. I like to imagine like your foot is waving, so it rolls and your hip moves with it. It rolls a little bit. So you're just starting to move into the different parts of your hamstring. So moving slowly, so you're having your own little exploration depending on what's going on in your body. Some of you will take movement that I wouldn't even be able to see, and that will feel enough for you. It really just depends on what you've been up to. Nice. Good. And then from here, we're going to roll over the front foot. This time the hands are going to come in on the inside. So think lizard style, if you know. Right foot's going to take a little heel toe out to the side a little bit. So you end up with the foot, rather than being underneath you, it's a little out to the side. Now, if your hands can't reach the ground now, this feels a little intense on your hip, you have a few options. You can slide your knee back so you end up with more space, so your hip is a little bit lower, or bring the ground up to meet you. Blocks are wonderful for this, so are coffee tables. So you want to find somewhere that feels good. If this just doesn't work for you, come back into a low lunge, that's fine. And then you have the option as you're here to find a little bit of movement. So you might find that a little bit of a hip wiggle is quite a small movement, allows you to find a bit more space in the hips. Some of you might even find that you want to roll out onto the baby edge side of your foot. So if you are doing that, your knee and your foot move in the same direction. So it's not an ankle stretch. So you don't end up just rolling your ankle. Foot is flexed and you can move a little bit out. I'm doing the compacted version so you can see me. Yeah, we'll take a few breaths wherever you are, wherever you are. It's going to feel a little intense sometimes, this one. Soften your shoulders, relax your face. Good, and then from here, we're going to heel toe this foot back in towards the center. Do a bit of a funky transition here. You're possibly going to hate me because you're going to end up sideways on your mat. What we're going to do is draw the foot a little bit closer and we're going to pivot. So this right foot is a little bit more diagonal and this foot we're going to bring onto our heel. So we end up in this like low squat sideways thing going on. I'm sure there's a yoga pose name for it, but we're going to go with ninja. So you might have to adjust a little bit. If this doesn't work for you, you could do a higher version. So you could kind of end up coming up here. And what we're going to do is we're going to move a little side to side. So you could be up high. High is good. Lower down with your heel off the ground is fine. Heel could be on the ground. More likely your heel's off the ground. We're going to do a little bit of a flow. Ninja or spider, you can call this. I'm sure it's got a real name. And then just finding a little bit of movement from side to side. Now, some of you are going to want a lot of support with your hands, kind of scooting from one side to the other. Like I say, if you need to be higher with it, you can stay higher. You may feel that this is really comfy. You might find a little bit of a balance. You might even go hands free. You could do fancy hands. I'm all about hands down today. Nice. Beautiful. Now I'm going to give you the option. We're going to kind of like move around our whole mat today. to when you next come to the left-hand side, we're going to spin on the left-hand side to end up in a low lunge on that side. So if that doesn't work for you, you're ending up with your back to me, come back to the front and just switch your legs, okay? Depends how you set up your mat, really. So just finding yourself in a low lunge, it's your other leg now. So your left leg is in front, your right leg is behind. And just finding that low lunge again, a little bit of support if you need it. Draw the legs towards each other. As you feel ready, you can inhale and sweep the arms up. Checking that your front knee is in line with your ankle. And you do feel this sense of support. So your legs are drawing towards each other rather than kind of flopping in. You can do both. You can have stability and flexibility. Arms can come up again. Find as much space as you need. Relax your neck, relax your shoulders. And just take a few breaths where you are. Nice, good. And then from here, as you exhale, taking the hands down, we'll come into that half splits again. We'll take a few breaths here just to kind of settle into where we want our foot to be. You might find you've got to wiggle it forwards a bit. Flexing the foot, knee bent. And again, like someone's hand is just gently pushing against it. And then we're going to find that flow. So as you inhale, roll over the front foot, take a breath. You can keep the hands low or maybe reach the arms up. Keep that stability in the legs as you do that. And then exhale, sinking back. Nice. Inhale, roll over the front foot. So just keep finding that flow, whatever that looks like for you. Exhale's coming back. Nice. Take a few more like this. Good. Next time that you come back, we're going to stay there. So finding your way into this half splits. I still don't like calling it half splits. It always makes me think of the splits. And it doesn't have to look anything like that. And then if it feels nice, I just go off on tangents, don't I? You can kind of wave your foot. And it's interesting to kind of explore what it's like when you don't move your butt and you just wiggle the foot a little bit with the knee bent. And then what it feels like to allow your bottom to move. Sometimes you can get into these little stretches. There's a certain place in my hip at the moment, I don't even know where it is, but certain obscure positions, I'm like, oh yeah, that's good. That's why these little movements are so nice. Nice. Okay, and then from here, we'll roll over the front foot, take the hands on the inside. So the left foot is going to do a little heel toe out. Maybe you need to slide that back knee back a little bit so you feel like your hands can get to the ground or ground can come up to meet you. Again, there is this sense of drawing the legs towards each other so you're not just flopping into, especially if you've got quite flexible hips. And then maybe a little bit of a wiggle might feel nice. Maybe you want to roll out on the outer edge side of your foot, find a little bit of space there. Again, just make sure that your ankle stays in line with your knee. We'll take a few breaths wherever you are. Again, remembering you could come into a low lunge if that felt better. That's fine too. Good. Okay, and then from here, we're going to heel toe that foot back into the center, both hands on the ground now. We're going to take both feet back towards plank, knees or toes, your choice. I'm all about knees down these days. And then just gently lower yourself down towards the ground. Elbows can graze past you. You can do the ripple as well if that feels good. Resting your forehead on the ground, hands next to your chest. Just wiggle yourself a little bit longer so you can release your lower back. Toenails can push down. And then as you inhale, roll your shoulders. Let that lead you to gently draw you up into a little cobra. So stay low, gaze towards the ground. And then exhale, you can roll yourself back down. And again, just allowing this little flow. So as you inhale, you come up. Maybe use a little weight on the hands. And then exhale back down. Let it be as big or as small as you like. And maybe it's just a shoulder roll. Maybe you're pretty low to the ground, just rolling your shoulders. But find a place that feels freeing in your lower back rather than constricting. Nice. Taking one more like this. And then as you exhale, lowering back down, rolling over the knees. Let's find our way into downward facing dog, or maybe, if you prefer, finding a child's pose. Relax those shoulders away from your ears. Just allow your lower back to release wherever you are. And if you want to take some slightly bigger breaths, so I've realized I now just breathe noisily all the time, not just in yoga class. But there's something to be said for that. Allowing your exhales to actually release something. Do as much of that as you feel comfortable. And then from here, if you prefer, you can do this with your knees down. This is your choice. We're going to take the left leg and we're going to sweep it up towards the sky. So a little three-legged dog here. Maybe as high as you like. Give a nice little stretch up. Pointy toes if you like. Hips don't have to be square. Take the stretch that feels nice. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. Your right knee could be down. And then as you exhale, your left knee, so the one in the air, is going to scoop forwards. We're going to end up in a high lunge now. So left foot comes between the hands. Give this some help if you need to. Just check your feet are on a train tracks, not a tightrope. And drawing your legs towards each other, we're going to come up. So you could stay low if you want. If you want to stay in a low lunge, that's fine. Pulling the legs towards each other. Arms are going to come up. So again, stay where you are. You can allow your shoulders to be soft and maybe have those kind of YMCA arms. I didn't know that my trousers were so low. And now I've got my belly out. Not that it matters, it's just wasn't my intention. It's like a little surprise when you see yourself on video. You're like, oh, okay. Didn't look in the mirror, did I? Yeah, taking another breath here, feeling your chest lift just a little bit more. Find that strength in your legs. Now this is where, I always do this, this is where we might end up using a block at the front of the mat. So if you've got one, maybe have it to hand, but don't worry if not. So from here, we're going to find our way into a warrior three. So allow your hands to drop down first, palms of the hands face forwards. My suggestion is you fix your gaze forwards first so you know where you're going, and then start to tip forwards. Your front leg can stay bent, and as you take your back leg off the ground, flex your foot so it's pointing towards the ground. You can legit lean on furniture. I always hide it, but then tell everyone, but I'm leaning on this unit all the time when I do this. You could even lean on a block, furniture, anything that feels nice for you. Let the crown of your head reach. You're getting nice and long here. Nice. And then from here, we're going to see if we can turn it into a half moon. This is where the block is quite useful. So keep that little bend in the front leg. Your left hand is going to come towards the ground or onto your brick. And this back foot that's flexed is going to start to turn out to the side. Maybe your hand wants to go on your hip. Again, you could totally be leaning on a wall or some furniture. Top arm might even want to lift. We're not going to be here for long. Nice. Find your balance. And all of this can be done against the wall. Things I should tell you beforehand. Nice. And then from here, both hands are going to come towards the ground now. You're going to release the flexed foot, let it be a pointy foot, coming in towards like a standing splits version. So fingertips on the floor, head towards the ground. Bend your knee as much as you need to. Right leg does a nice little reach up. Bent or straight leg, doesn't matter. Relax your shoulders. Nice. And then from here, this back leg is going to take an almighty step back. We're going to end up in a warrior two. So find its way back, bend that front knee as much as you need to. Find the grounding of the bottom foot and then find your way up. However you want to transition there is also fine. Sorry if you've ended up facing away from me. It's like a mat dance. And you can do a little bit of a wiggle out in your hips here. Front knee's in line with the ankle, but you want to feel like you've got a little bit of freedom in your pelvis. So find the alignment in your feet that gives you that freedom. Arms can reach out, soften your shoulders. Just going to take one breath in and come back. A little stretch up. And then as you exhale, we're going to come over into a little side angle. So elbow could come onto the leg, if that feels good. Take a nice little reach up. Hand might come on the inside, that's fine too. Find some space. Line your head up with your spine. And then the top arm can reach over. If that feels nice, shoulder away from the ear. Good, just another breath here. And then let's inhale, come all the way back up, warrior two. Relaxing your hands towards your hips. Straighten that front leg, we're going to pivot so both your feet are facing the same direction. So we're going to come into a wide-legged fold. I'll give you the option if you want to. I'm massaging my hips because they're a little sore. Feel free to do that, by the way, at any point. I'm going to give you the option to take the hands behind you. So if you know you just want to keep your hands on your hips, or you're going to lean on some furniture or a wall, that's cool. The option here for you is to take the arms out to the side, palms face backwards, drop your shoulders, and then start to draw the palms of the hands together, but without popping your chest out. Imagine your shoulder blades are coming towards each other. Elbows can be bent, and that's what helps you get a grip of your hands without popping your chest out. And then from here, wherever your hands want to be, will start to come forward. So you have a few options as you come forwards. Hands could stay on the lower back. That's fine if that feels nice for you. Maybe the hands want to come up and over, but keep the shoulders away from your ears. Relax your head and your neck. Whichever version you come into, find somewhere that feels nice. And maybe see what it feels like to allow the weight to move a little bit more into your front of your feet, so the balls of your feet, rather than all in the heels. And there is a little bit of counterbalancing here, but normally our butts kind of fall backwards. What would it be like to tip forward so that your seat bones can almost poke up towards the sky? Nice. And then when you're ready, we're going to find our way all the way back up. So gently ball your belly in towards your back. Find your way up, release your hands. Then roll out of your shoulders. Nice. And then from here, we're going to do everything we've just done in reverse on the other side. It's like brain training. So again, if turning your right foot out, so I'm like moving sideways on my mat, the way I teach. If moving your right foot out to come to a warrior two on the other side means you're backwards to me, just switch around. Find your way. We'll just find a little space in our warrior two, so you can do your little hip wiggle. Find that little space of freedom, reaching the arms out. Soften your shoulders. Nice. Breath in, bring it back. And then exhale as you come over, find your side angle. So you can rest your elbow, so long as you're not dumping the weight down, you can rest your elbow, hand on the ground, but really find that sense of integrity in the body. Arm reaches up. And then if you want to take the top arm over, shoulder away from the ear, then you can. Nice. Good. And then from here, we're going to do a windmill back up. And then we're going to find our way towards, so we are going to go in reverse, standing splits. So however you want to do that, I would wiggle your back foot a little bit closer, spin through a lunge, take the hands down towards the ground, lift your left foot up. So that's where we're going to start. It's kind of weird going in reverse, but I find it quite fun. Otherwise your body kind of gets used to whatever happens on the other side. Keep the front leg bent. Should have told you. It's always great to say afterwards, bring your block with you. Sorry about that. We're going to come into half moon from here. My bottom is genuinely leaning against here, so feel free to do that. Right hand's on the ground, or fingertippy hands are on your block. Flex your back foot, point it out to the side. Let that be what opens up your body rather than the movement in your body. Arm can reach up if you want, or you can have your hands on your hip. Nice. Leaning against something is totally fine. And then from here, if you're not leaning on something, this will probably be a tricky transition. So see how it feels. We're going to move into a warrior three from here. So allow your back foot to flex and the toe turns in, so it's towards the ground. And then start to move your shoulders to face towards the ground. Reach the hands behind you. A little bend in your bottom foot, just catching your balance here. We'll only take a breath or two. Then we're going to step this back foot back. We're going to end up in a high lunge. Woohoo! Sweep the arms up. Adjust your feet as you need to. Feel free to fall over a little bit. Soften your shoulders. Gently pull the legs towards each other. Woohoo! Nice. Well done. Super flow. Just take another breath here. Nice. And then from here, we're going to sweep the arms down towards the ground. So as you plant the hands down, your left foot's going to stay on the ground and your right foot is now going to swoop up into a three-legged dog. So swooshing it all the way back, three-legged dog, right leg switches up. Nice, and then exhale, release that right foot down towards the ground. Find your way in your downward facing dog. Soften your shoulders away from your ears. Just taking a few breaths here. Nice, and then from here we'll bring the knees down towards the ground, untuck your toes, take a little sink back, come into child's pose. You can rest your forehead wherever feels comfortable. We'll take a few breaths here, just allow ourselves to sink in, to soften. Nice steady breaths. Good. Taking just a few more breaths where you are. And when you're ready, just going to gently draw ourselves up now. We're going to come towards seated. So you can scoot your feet to one side, butt to the ground. We're going to start to wind down. So you might want to preempt cooling down by putting on socks or jumpers. That's what I'm going to do. Oh, that's loud. And so as you come to sit down, bring the soles of the feet together. Let the knees come out wide. Feel free to sit yourself on a blanket if that's comfortable. And let your feet be far enough away from you that you can allow your knees to relax, your hips to relax. If you draw the feet in close and they ping up, give yourself a little bit more space. And then just allow for your butterfly wings to gently flap. And it can be a really small movement, especially if you have tight hips. You could even do the butt wiggle as well. But a little small movement. Allow yourself to sit up nice and tall. Yeah, nice. And you can do maybe some bigger little rocks from side to side. And just being mindful, just listen to your body as to what feels nice here. And then letting the rock be a little bit smaller so it's a sway. So seat bones are on the ground. A little bit of a sway. You're going to take this sway and you're going to sneaky sway forwards. I believe in like sneaky with your hips. Sometimes they catch you. But a little bit of a sway forward. So you're keeping your chest lifted. You've got a nice straight spine, but your neck, your shoulders are relaxed. Maybe you're holding your feet. You might even want to give your feet a little massage. Maybe they need a little attention today. When you feel like you've got to a place where you feel comfortable, maybe the movement doesn't feel so good anymore, you prefer a little stillness, even use a little block to relax onto. Anything you've got around you want to rest on. Just allow yourself to soften somewhere that feels good. So you don't want to feel like you're maxed out If you're a little bit higher, that's fine. Find the place that feels like you have space, not restriction. And then take some nice big breaths into this space. Nice. And then when you're ready, just gently bringing yourself back up. Slowly, slowly. Take the hands behind you now if you want fingertips towards your bottom. Feet can come down onto the ground wider than hip distance, and you can do a little swoosh from side to side, just a little bit of a release out here in the hips. And we're going to make our way on towards our backs. We're going to do a little, couple of little movements on our back. So if you maybe have a bolster at home or a blanket, eye pillow, make sure you've got them close so you don't have to move once you've laid down. It's like the most important transition in a yoga class, in my opinion. So allow yourself to, I got tangled, allow yourself to make your way down onto your back, putting your socks on as you go. As you settle down on your back, maybe drawing the knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a little bit of a hug. You can even wrap the arms around, like we always say, give yourself a hug, but it's not like a real hug. Actually give yourself like a proper hug, like a squishy, nice hug. And then if you want to take a little bit of a roll on your lower back, you could draw circles with your knees, maybe in one direction, and then in the other direction. Nice, and then from here, just going to take the knees over to one side, whichever side you want to. Come into a little bit of a twist here. And if you feel like you want some support under your legs, you could pop them onto a cushion. And just spreading the arms out in a way that feels nice. I'm a little restricted on one side, but T arms or cactusy arms, something that feels supportive. So you don't want to feel like your shoulders are suspended above the ground or your elbows are hanging in the air. Find somewhere where you feel connected to the ground. That might be hands on the belly or side of the belly. You can close your eyes if you like. We're going to take a few breaths here. Really relaxing your hips. Sometimes there's a tendency for that top leg to kind of hold on, like it's trying not to let go. And you can, you guys, whenever you're looking at me, you'll notice I randomly massage parts of my body. But if you feel like there's an area of tension that just needs a little bit of a rub, this is part of this process of connecting to our bodies, even just randomly throughout the day. Lately, I felt like my hands need a massage, I think because I'm more on a computer than I normally am. And then when you feel ready, take your time and draw your knees back to center. And then you can find your way to the other side. So just taking that twist in the other direction. Resettling your arms, wherever that might be. And again, allowing that top leg to soften, to release. Just taking those breaths here. Those bigger, longer, slower breaths, the ones that tell your body that it's safe and that you can soften. And then in your own time, taking as long as you need. We're going to find our way to lie down into a comfortable position. So whatever that looks like for you, whether you want to have your legs long, allowing them to be wider than the mat. If you need some support for your lower back today, maybe bending the legs or having a bolster under the knees or cushions. Wherever you are, allowing your shoulder blades to just snuggle underneath you so you've got that nice long spine, long neck. And then closing your eyes and really allowing for yourself to settle in, maybe grabbing a blanket. And just take the next few breaths to allow yourself to settle. So there's no rush to get into Shavasana. It's more important to take your time to find that optimal position. And if that means some shuffling, then take the shuffling. And then just allowing yourself to soften in your belly so that you can take 3 or 4 really conscious, longer, slower breaths. And as you exhale on every one of those breaths, just feeling your body sinking just a little bit more into the ground beneath you. And as you sink into the ground and feel that sense of softness, I invite you to envisage this magical light, a watery kind of energy, and feeling it just like we did at the beginning, starting to wash over the crown of your head, like a wave of softness. As it flows across your face, you allow your face to relax and to soften. Feeling your neck, shoulders relax and sink into the ground. And as that wave of softness moves through your body, feel your chest soften. Your belly relax. Your back sink a little bit more into the ground. Allowing your arms to relax, your hands, your fingers to really soften. Let that wave wash over your lower belly, lower back, softening your pelvic floor muscles, softening your bottom, your thighs, allowing your legs to really relax, to release. Softening your feet and your toes. And allowing yourself to float in this softness, this sense of real deep relaxation. So just allowing yourself to float here, enjoying this space. And start to tune back into your breath, feeling the sense of your body on the ground. Allowing for this floaty sense of softness to come with you as you transition your way back and reconnect to your surroundings. Maybe breathing a little bit deeper, knowing that you can stay here, you don't have to come back. If you know you'd like to, you can start to wiggle your fingers, toes. Just starting to take some stretches into your body in the way that feels good for you. Stretching, yawning your body awake. Eventually, you could draw the knees into the chest. Maybe taking a little roll around on your back. And taking as long as you need to roll over to one side. Maybe pausing there for a moment. Eventually finding your way to seated, the eyes closed. Settling yourself there. And if it feels good for you, you can bring the palms of the hands together in front of your heart space. And we're going to end our practice with 3 ohms, which will hopefully calm the puppy down, which I'm hoping you can't hear. So you're welcome to join in, or you can just listen. So when you're ready, take a nice big deep breath in. Namaste. Thank you for joining me.